sense in someone's mind. They came up with all these different scenarios of how this all fit. But this morning, I want to go just to the biblical text. And we're not going to worry about what everybody thinks. We're not going to worry about tradition. We're going to look at what is told to us in the text. I was listening to one guy, and it was funny because I get so hung up on this because I'm all about follow that star. I love the star in the story. I love the supernatural aspect to what's going on. And there's this pastor I was listening to, Alistair Begg, and he was like, don't get sidetracked by the star. And I'm like, but I like the star. And he says it in his best, I don't know if he's Irish or what, don't get distracted by the star. I was like, what is that accent, man? But man, I like the star. I like the star. Because the star, it's prophetic. Balaam, remember the children of Israel as they're going through the wilderness, as they're on their way to the promised land. And this king hires a prophet for hire named Balaam. And he says, I want you to come and I want you to prophesy death over these people, these Israelites, that they'll go away and they'll be stricken. And he gets up there and he wants to say all the stuff he's been hired to say, but the Spirit of God moves on him. There's this crazy prophet named Balaam, and he starts to just bless them. And he says, a star will come from you, Israel. What? The king that hired him so upset, like, this isn't what we paid you to do. He goes, I couldn't help it. Because when God moved on me, I couldn't help but just say what God made me say. Amen. But this propheticness about this prophetic utterance about this star that will be risen from Israel. It just makes sense when you read it in parallel with the story about the star that these men would see, these magi. So let's start in Matthew chapter 2 on this Three Kings Day. After Jesus was born in Bethlehem, Matthew 2 verse 1, in Judea, during the time of King Herod, magi, or maybe your translation says wise men. Maybe you're going to call them kings. But do you notice how many came? Did it tell you how many came? No. The only reason they think there were three, that traditionally they're like, because you don't come to Jesus without a gift. So there had to be three of them because there was three gifts. But literally, come on, these guys would have been traveling in a very large entourage.